Hello, it's Dr. J again, and today we are going to share our sixth lesson on Introduction to North Cleveland Baptist Church. And as always, I hope you'll have your notebook with the outlines and you'll find the couple of pages that make up our sixth lesson, what is special about our church. And this one is really personal because it talks about the individual personality of our congregation, and also it's personal because it's my reflections about what makes North Cleveland Baptist Church a unique quality as compared to other congregations. Years ago, I met a professor at Lee University. He had not been there very long, and he talked about the city that he had taught in up north before he became a part of the faculty at Lee. It was a town and an area not too different from the population of Bradley County, Tennessee. And he said there were really a choice there of 3 evangelical churches that you could pick from. And of course, in Bradley County, Tennessee, there are scores and scores and scores of evangelical churches, maybe he said on every corner. And so we have a lot of choices and options as you pursue where God would have you land as a church member. I have a good friend who pastors in Gwinnett County, Georgia, and most of you know Gwinnett County is a county adjacent to Fulton County in the Atlanta area, just under 1 million people living in Gwinnett County, Georgia. According to some website investigations that I did on a directory of churches in Gwinnett County, there were I found the number here, 188 churches in Gwinnett County, population just about 1 million. Now in Bradley County, Tennessee, you can see their outline there at the very top, a population of 100,000 people, about 109,000 I think is accurate. There are over 50 Southern Baptist churches in Bradley County with over 200 churches of all denominations. So it's a bit mind-blowing that in Bradley County, Tennessee, with 100 to 110,000 people, we have as many churches as there is in Gwinnett County with a population of about 1 million. Just again shows there's a lot of congregations that are here. So with so many choices, what makes North Cleveland unique? What makes us who we are? And churches aren't like maybe some food chains where, you know, a Cracker Barrel is a lot the same in one town as the next. In fact, we like that. We find comfort in that. The menu's the same, the look's the same, the feel is the same. But churches aren't quite that way. So what is it about our church? Here's my list. Yours would certainly be different. The first is our, and the P doesn't stand for our pastor, or our preaching, or our preacher. The P stands for our people, the people that make up our church. I have a good pastor friend named Tim Perrin. We grew up together, and Tim has a dry, witty sense of humor, sees kind of the irony of things, and sometimes when we're gathered and somebody's not there we'd expect, he'll use this zinger. He'll say, you know why they're not here? And somebody say, why? And he'll say, because they're somewhere else. And that's, I guess that's true. So, people are here, and because they're here, they're not somewhere else. And in our congregation, you find the unique characteristics and the unique characters that make up the heart and body and leadership and membership of North Cleveland Baptist Church. You won't find those people elsewhere. They are here. We may have similar programs. We may have identical curriculums that we use in Bible study classes or in other ministries, but the truth is we don't have the same people, and that makes our church, always will make it unique. Also, second, about our staff. We have our congregation has our staff, and we don't serve another congregation. We are here, and so we're proud of that. And part of that and uniqueness of North Cleveland Baptist is the longevity of our staff. One of the worthwhile notes is our longevity. I've been here over 35 years. Lanny is a year and a half from now. In 2023, we'll have his 20th anniversary as part of our staff. Jason, later that same year, his 15th anniversary. We just had Holly Cox's 5th anniversary doing our children and preschool ministries. And frankly, even our support staff tend to have long tenures in our office and in our caretaking duties and responsibilities. So we are grateful for that. We think that's an effective way to have church leadership, and we're glad to have that and share. Next, our history. We've already gone over a session about our history, but it's our story. And our story isn't anyone else's story. And just like your story helped you become who you are today, the story of our church helped us become who we are today. No other church has our history. And one of the cool things as I look through our congregation is we have these folks who are lifers, who've been in our church all of their life. And we have a handful of folks who have been in our church all of their lives, and their parents have been in their church all of their lives. There's multi-generational lifers here, and just North Cleveland Baptist is part of the fabric of who they are, and they've walked through and been a part of the history of our congregation that we share. We're proud of people that we bring up in our church, and we may end up sending them out into the world as they go into other communities and live and work there, and part of their legacy is what we were able to give them in their time here, and we're proud of those who stick around and share. And there is a wonderful family spirit that we have and we share in our story. One of the characteristics I mentioned in our history of our church, we've never had a church split. Doesn't mean we have agreed on everything, but there's never been really a battle in our church and something so divisive you picked one side or the other. Sometimes we've had discussions, sometimes we've had to make decisions that left some people disappointed, but it was never worth the value of the fellowship that we shared together. And that is something that we can hold proud as part of our congregation, and may that legacy continue into the future. Next quality is our friendliness. At least I get the impression that we have a friendly congregation. This past Sunday, I'll give an example, that we had a young couple, small children, come into our church really right before worship hour began, and I didn't have a chance to speak to them before we began worship, so I was hoping to get that chance after the benediction. So I closed the service, and I went out to the front porch, and it took them a long time to get out to the door, to be honest with you, because so many of our church families went over and talked to them and welcomed them and greeted them and shared conversation with them. And I'm glad when that happens. I'm very proud of our congregation when that takes place and shares, and hope that would take place. Today, a lot of people will be able to go to our church website and they can watch a video of our worship service. They can look at layout of our buildings. They can read our church history. They can know a lot of things, but the character of our people and the joy and the friendliness and the hospitality that we share is something that you have to experience firsthand, and I believe that is real. Next is our diversity among our people. Now, I would be the first to say that we're not as diverse as our community, with all the ethnicities and languages and such represented. We could do better in that job, and God willing, that will take place. But I also would say you look around, you're going to find a lot of diversity in ages. About an equal number of people, I've said for years, between the ages of like birth and 30 years old and 30 to 60 and 60 and above. That all those generations about equally represented, and I'm grateful for that. We have educational diversity, those with high degrees, graduate degrees, and those with basic education and vocational skills that take place. We have economic diversity in our church family too, and yet we have a brotherhood, we have sisterhood, we have a family spirit that takes place. Also diversity in leadership that we share, and in your material you'll find a listing of the Committee on Committees, where we have people in different committees and officers and other duties in the church. And boy, the feel here recently is we put a lot more new people onto there. We welcome that. We celebrate that when that can take place. My father was interim pastor of a congregation, and his impression was this: there are about 3 people in the church that run the whole thing. Everything has to run by them, through them, but that's not the spirit and the nature here. There's no old guard wanting to hoard all the power. We're not diverse in every way we could possibly be, but I'm proud of the ways that we show that. Related to that then is our trust. that is granted and shared. As pastor, you grant me a lot of trust with longevity in me and our staff. That is earned and shared and given, and we don't want to abuse it. But we are grateful for that being shared. I was talking to a couple recently who been in their church for 7 years, and I said that's a good amount of time to earn people's trust. They know you're there for to get to know them, deepen relationships, and it'll only get better as time goes, as they've gotten some trust built up, and now they were able to capitalize on that and use that and the better things that will be ahead. We don't deal with suspicion. We're not second guessing every move. So we're not wondering if somebody's behind us trying to look and trip us up or see something trips up. I've known pastors that kind of walk around on eggshells because it feels like somebody's always trying to point out some flaw or mistake. It's hard to minister with confidence and in comfort in that kind of a setting to take place. Now, when I say trust, I don't mean we agree on everything. Plenty of things we disagree on, but we can disagree without being disagreeable. And as I said, we don't have a church division that takes place about those things. And come to one of our business meetings that, according to church policy, on the Wednesday after the second Sunday of every month we meet. They are low key. They are usually very brief. There is a lot of sense of trust that takes place when a committee recommends something. They trust they've looked into it, that it's a wise choice. And so they're kind of uneventful, to be honest. And even if there is some discussion, it's done with a lot of respectability that is shared in regard for one another. So we're grateful for that trust. Thank you for the trust you give the church staff and the level of trust we share among the church staff, folks to do their job and to do it well. Next, our mission commitment. Every church has missions and what they give to, but how do you describe that? How do you do that? Is that shared primarily ministering to yourself, taking care of your own, or how much of it is outside and given away? And I'll express some of this in different ways about our mission that really involves the people that we share. We have some missionary ties to some folks, some in vocational mission work. Chris and Lori Heil in Brazil, who we have a strong partnership with there. Stephanie Harris Miller, who spent teenage years here in our church, just came back from the mission field in Papua New Guinea. We are proud to be in some partnerships with her and be a part of her past that took her to that place in missions. Mary Logston, who just retired from serving in Asia, and we're grateful that she is now, a part of our church family, and we have that people connection there. But beyond the things about our mission teams that we send out, I was pastor here for almost 15 years before we took our very first team on an international mission trip in the year 2000. Now, COVID has changed some of this, but we're going to get back to this, that we would have multiple international trips taking place that our people would be participating in, and our church helps sponsor that and carries a lot of the cost for those folks who will go, and it's part of the mission mindedness. And of course, it trickles down even to some of the smallest things. We had our Girls in Action doing a walk for life to raise money for New Hope Crisis Pregnancy Center just in recent weeks, and those girls raising thousands of dollars by their working on that good ministry and helping that ministry take place. And so a lot of places that missions has the hands and feet and the heart of our church. Also in giving, we mentioned this as part of describing how we're organized in the budget. North Cleveland Baptist is among the elite about our giving, and Jesus said, where your treasure is, there your heart will be. So that number again, in that blank, 22% of what goes into the general church offering, our budget gifts, we give away to good mission causes that reach out in a lot of different directions to a lot of good things, and that is an exceptional thing. One other I do want to make sure I mention is Operation Christmas Child, which is a ministry of Samaritan's Purse. It's taking the shoe boxes of toys and school items and other things that the children around the world could utilize. Sonia Boring Huddleston in our church is leading that. She is the champion for that cause. Sonia passes along that she thinks this year we'll do 2,000 boxes for Operation Christmas Child. And I will just put it this way. I don't know of a church, in a ratio to ratio, size and number of boxes that come close to what North Cleveland Baptist does in that. We're very proud of that, not only for the boxes, but then the funds that have to be raised for shipping of those boxes too. $18,000 or so if we do end up having 2,000 boxes, and the church is generous to give and make that a possibility too. So those are just some of the things that come to mind. Part of missions too is I'll mention these, and I'll put them under the category of our caring ministries, a little closer to home in this case. Our weekday child care ministry provides loving care for approximately 50 children on any given day, employing about 20 people. Has a strong reputation in our community. There is a long waiting list, no matter what age group child, from infants through the 4-year-olds that are preparing to start kindergarten in the next school year. And very proud of that ministry. It's been here more than 30 years, and it has a strong reputation, as I said. This is the 4th year that we have hosted Big City University, which is part of the Bradley County school system, helping offer to what would otherwise be latchkey children, providing them some structure, providing them tutoring, providing them educational activities and supervision here in our church, Monday through Thursday throughout the school year. 100 to 150 children involved in that, and grateful that we are able to reach out to those families. We are able to partner sometimes in things that they're done with the faculty of Big City University and our church. We do trunk or treat. That's something that we very much lock arms together with. And so those are all great things, and we are proud, and it's been a very good partnership that we've shared. Vacation Bible School. Boy, we could talk for the rest of the time about Vacation Bible School. I can count on one hand the number of years in my life I have gone through a summer and not experienced Vacation Bible School. It's just been a part of us, and I'm glad it's a relevant, exciting thing continuing in the North Cleveland Baptist Ministries. And we decided some years back that we're going to try to do something unique, different from other congregations, and that evolved a few years into the drama that is put together that Lanny Green coordinates for us so well, and Holly puts together all the classes and things. And so just to note that on a given Sunday, we have 40 to 50 children here from 4-year-olds through the 5th grade. That's on a given Sunday, that's about how many we would have. In Vacation Bible School, who we take in kids from 4-year-olds through 5th grade, we'll have 250 or more children. So 80% of the kids here for Vacation Bible School are not our regular kids. That's high praise, and I love hearing parents coming to pick up their kids, and they are complimentary of our church and give us high praise for the way that we do Vacation Bible School. So I'm very grateful for that. It's all hands on deck. Everybody is needed. We need folks who help out in so many different ways to make Vacation Bible School happen, and we're grateful for all those. Trunk or treat, I mentioned a moment ago with Big City University. It's more than a big candy giveaway because we ask every family. A lot of them now we're asking to pre-register, so we get contact information. When they get here, if they want to be a part of it, we ask them to register. We get that information. We can follow up with them and say, hey, here's our Christmas programs. Here's Vacation Bible School next year for your children. We'd love to have them involved. Here's Sunday school things that are taking place, and especially our family and children's ministries. We can showcase, we can highlight when Easter Sunday's coming. We can make sure they get invited to be a part of that service. So we can do some follow-up, and we can do some personalized follow-up too. We call them individually or we write them notes. So it is just a good way of reaching out. I mentioned next our bereavement team. When there's a death in the church, there was for many years, it was just kind of this custom that a Sunday school class would kind of take care of somebody in their own class, and that worked loosely structured, but not as efficiently as it could. So we put together a bereavement team, and it's been under the leadership of a variety of servant-hearted people. Doesn't get a lot of spotlight, but just to note, when there's been a death in the family from one of our church family, somebody's reaching out to them saying, can we provide a meal? Can we provide, snacks? You may be having some family members in town. What can we do? And that team puts it together, small or large, what is needed. I do want to mention our Men on Mission, who use their building and construction skills. Scores of wheelchair ramps have been built on homes that have needed those things. They have recently worked on the Isaiah 117 house in doing some of the things that they can provide in a wheelchair ramp and some steps, providing access into that building for that good ministry that takes place. And just a tip of the hat to those who are willing to give their time and some of their carpentry skills to take that place. And I'll mention the partner ministries. I mentioned that in the budget process and talked a little bit about our partnerships with them. I will just say some of them that what we do as a church is we give them funding. So they can do their good work. Sometimes it's more than funding. A good example is Family Promise. Family Promise is taking care, remember, of families who would be homeless otherwise, who need to save up some money to get a better housing situation. And so we take all their expenses off of them for a while. And so before COVID, and it'll be back this way when we house those families overnight here in our church. We provide meals for them. We provide some companionship and hospitality to them. We set up, we take down. There's a lot of hands-on things that are involved in addition to us sponsoring financially that ministry itself. So those are some of the partnerships that really have some tangible ways that show up in our ministries. I would mention too, another uniqueness of our church is our prayer commitment. And I am grateful for those folks who are prayer warriors, who have just that gift of a passionate prayer and a heart of prayer. There's a story in our history, it's in your notebook, that goes back to the days of World War II, where there was passionate prayers for all those who went into the military service. And we thank God for this, that every person from our church that went in the military service came back. No casualties, no deaths among those who went into the Army or the Navy or one of the branches of the military during World War II. So we're grateful for that prayer and build on that legacy. We have a ladies' circle that prays on Thursday together. They're the heavy hitters of our prayer ministry. I say they live closer to heaven than me, because their calls to God don't have to travel as far as mine have to. Those who wish can receive our prayer list that we keep in the office. We'll email that to you on a weekly basis. We read through, we pray through the prayer list as a staff on Monday mornings. We take that prayer list as it's revived and as it's passed along on Wednesday night. And we share that on Wednesday night with those who gather for our Wednesday night prayer time to correspond with people as best we can and get addresses of those that have been on that prayer list. You want to know you've been prayed for. And I say this is a way you put power to your prayer. You add power. Prayer is powerful on itself. You're going to add to your power of your prayer. You pray for them and you let them know you're praying for them. And so we try to let people know you were on our prayer list. We remembered you in our gathering of our prayer people for our church. And then the last thing I'll mention is about our church is our worship. And again, it comes kind of a bit to the people that are participating in our worship. We have a well-planned out worship time. We're not trying to wing it, but we're also not trying to put on a performance. We want to be genuine about things, but we want to be prepared in what we offer to the Lord and to those in the congregation as elements of our worship. So I'll say a word about our worship style. There are various worship styles, traditional, contemporary, or blended. I would primarily call ours blended. And part of that is related to the kind of giftedness that God has given to us, that He's gifted us with people who are capable of playing percussion and guitars and the keyboards and have talents in those areas. And so that's a bit of the sound that comes into our worship. We're grateful that God has sent us those people. And we put together old songs and new songs together. We might sing the latest chorus. And at the end of that, transition into a 500-year-old hymn. Frankly, I like that. I like that a lot. I like the richness and the traditions and the theology that is found in a lot of the old songs, but I do like the newer things that are coming along, and they can speak to my heart and soul too. And I tell people, if you don't like what you've heard, stick around, because we'll probably get to it. And if you have a particular song that you like, let me know, and we will try to work it in when it fits into the theme of what we are sharing. Someone said to me one time, "Why don't we sing hymns?" And I said, "Well, what's your favorite hymn?" And I found out really it was a favorite hymn they had missed. They told me what it was. I said, "Great." And within a couple of weeks, we were singing that favorite hymn, and life was sweet and good again. So stick around, let us know as we can share together. We are blessed, again, with talented musicians who can be comfortable in the old songs and comfortable in the new songs. And we appreciate their talents very much. We also, in today's worship, it's high tech. So we don't want that to be a distraction, but to complement things, so that we have the sound and we have the streaming that takes place, the media that we show up on the wall that supplement the sermon and such as this. Our worship seeks to blend speaking to the head and the heart. God gave us a head and a heart. He gave us thinking, and He gave us emotions. Now, I will grant to you that a lot of times the emotional piece, for me, is coming through the music. It just has, the music has passion that comes with it. But sometimes that can speak to my mind too, because we'll sing a phrase, and I'll say, wow, that put something theologically into some wording that spoke to me. It wasn't that many weeks ago that we were singing an old hymn that says, "Awake my soul and sing of Him who died for me." And it just, almost for the first time, I'd sung that song hundreds or thousands of times, and it says, awake. It's an awake. It's get up, it's a wake-up call to your soul and sing. And so, I don't know, that just spoke to me. I hadn't thought of it in that way, though I've sung that song a lot of different times. And also in the sermon, and I'll have to grant, this is a bit of the personality of the pastor and the preacher that wants to put together a sermon, give you an outline so it has structure to it, hopefully some balance to it, some rational following of things that makes sense, but also has some compelling in it. And there may be a story that is heartfelt and moving. That's a good thing too, so we try again to speak both to the head and to the heart. Our worship emphasizes participation. I like that. We're not in a show, like I said. And when one of my sons moved to Lexington, Kentucky to do graduate school work and was visiting around churches, he did go to one, and he said it was kind of like going to the theater. You went, you took a seat, and when it started, the house lights went down and the stage lights came up, and they had music, and somebody spoke, and when it was over, after the benediction, the house lights came up and the stage lights went down and everybody left. We're not trying to put on a show. It's important your participation is involved with that. I've been doing a children's sermon for all the years I have preached, over 38 years. And that's just a way of letting the kids participate, but it's also a way of letting the adults participate too. It's putting some kind of an object lesson or some kind of an imagery that can be tangible, no matter what age kid that you are. And I like participating through the children to everybody. I like it when we can do some things all together. Of course, we sing together. When we can at times read scripture, there's a familiar verse or a powerful verse. Read this along with me. And I just believe that by saying it aloud, it's going to make a little deeper impact of things. So where we ask you to participate in worship, fill out the outline, whatever it may be. We want worship. We think worship is designed to be not a we'll use sport language, not a spectator sport, but a participating activity, not something you do as a spectator, but something you do as a participant. We do have special worship services that are very dear to our church. Patriotic worship, the Sunday closest to July 4th. There's the picnic types of worship we have. We'll have campfire worship here in a couple of weeks, and that's a meaningful thing in the fall time of year that we share together. We have Hanging of the Green, kind of launches our holiday music as we complete the decoration of our sanctuary for the holidays. There's Good Friday service, which is kind of intentionally kind of dark and dim and reflective, and lets us take some meaningful time at the foot of the cross on Good Friday. And we had the biggest participation we've had in more than 10 years that we've been doing a Good Friday service, and a very beloved Christmas Eve service, a silent communion service that we share in on Christmas Eve. And so we have these special hours too that we are very endeared to us. Well, that's kind of my list. I could talk a lot longer about our church. It's family to me. It's very endeared to me. It's the bride of Christ, and it's a priority to me. But I'd be interested if you think about, if you're listening to this, you've been familiar with our church, it's made some impressions on you. Let me know what you think is special about our church. I look forward to hearing back from you, and I will look forward to joining with you for our 7th and final session about Introduction to North Cleveland Baptist Church. God bless. Have a great day.